Hey college football fans, welcome back. It's episode 52 of Walk It Off with Chappy, and you can consider this part 3 of our college football magazine preview. And today we're looking at the Athlon magazine. Now, I will say that this was the second magazine that I got this summer, and of 67 total print magazines that I own, this is number 19 from Athlon. So 1/3 of my collection, spanning all the way back to 1990. A third of that is from this Athlon company. They do a great job. Also, just a quick plug for the Cover 2 podcast with Braden Gall and Stephen Lassen. Both those guys work for Athlon. They do a really good job of covering the sport and providing some entertainment and insight conjunctively. So, a couple of things that I like about the Athlon magazine. First of all, it's usually the first one on the stands. Now, sometimes that's not always the best method to be the first out because you're really limited by what can happen in that time frame, and there's a lot of changes that happen. But the plus is they're the first one that you get your hands on. In the front of the magazine, I like their comprehensive rankings of units by conference. They also rank them by position, so it's good to see, not only who are some of the top receiver groups in the country, but within the conference, who's got the number 1, 2, 3 receiver group. My team that I'm looking at, where do they rank in terms of offensive line within the conference? Are they near the top or are they near the bottom? So Athlon does a good job of that. Really good, really expansive recruiting section. They rank them overall, they rank them by position, and they also rank them by conference. Probably better than any other preseason mag. I think that's one of the ways that Athlon stands out. Within the conference previews, they do a good job of giving their projected records overall and in conference, which is something that is risky from what I've seen, but I like that risk that they take. Even the good ones like Phil Steele and Lindy's, they kind of just lay out the projected order of finish, but they don't necessarily give the records, especially within conference. And I noticed that sometimes they'll say, okay, these 3 teams will tie for 3rd place within their conference, but they don't put tiebreakers into place. Well, Athlon does that, and that's something that I really appreciate. That's something that I myself on cfbcollegefootball.com, I try and do the same thing. A little windy out here today. They do a good job of giving, within the conference previews, recruiting rankings by school. So for every team within the conference, they'll show you where their recruiting class ranks from this past cycle. All Power 5 and all G5 conferences, they're going to give you their top to bottom, so I like that. Another thing that stands out about Athlon is for every school, not just the Power 5 schools, not just the teams that might be ranked within the top 25, they give a 2-deep roster. Lindy's does not do that. Phil Steele obviously is a little bit more expansive, but what I like about Athlon is for every team, you're going to see the 2-deep, the projected 2-deep, at least as it's projected to start in the fall. I like how for each team, each school, they give the top 10 recruits. So it's not just a top newcomer, it's not just a couple guys who could make an impact. They take everyone in their recruiting class and they rank them up to 10 spots, which I think is helpful when you're kind of looking at depth and when you're projecting maybe the next couple of years for each program. They give the last year's stat rankings, a per game statistical analysis of how that team did last year for the most common and most relevant offensive and defensive statistical categories, but they also show where that ranked nationally and within the conference. So you can kind of get a scope of, this team was maybe the 80th best pass efficiency offense, but that still ranked 4th within this conference. So, you kind of narrow it down. I think that's good analysis from Athlon. They also give an interesting stat corner, which is a unique, incredible stat specific to that school, that team, something that maybe jumps out that puts that particular program in a higher level than their competitors. And then also what I like about Athlon's preseason magazine is a little bit more in terms of the writing and the text. So not so focused on the graphics, more about the analysis and actual writing, which a journalist like myself, I appreciate that. And anything that I can dig into and get a little bit more on, I like that about Athlon. So again, Athlon College Football Magazine. It's been on the stands for a while, and if it's too late for you, maybe this can get you thinking into next year. Do I want to spend the money on an additional college football magazine? I think Athlon is certainly a reputable one you'll want to go to. And again, check out their site online. Check out the writers that they have. Listen to the podcasts and their contributors to various college football podcasts. And maybe I can get a little hookup with Braden Gall and Stephen Lass and have them on the CFP podcast, or maybe just a quick little thing with yours truly, Chappy. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Keep following. Keep spreading the good message. I'm Chappy as always. This is what I know.